The Dallas Cowboys have begun their first wave of roster cuts. These coming down like 20 minutes before the CeeDee Lamb extension, so we weren't able to go in order. This was going to be the second video of the day instead of getting a third video, because you know what? News is happening. Do I wish the Cowboys were a normal team and did their big-time extensions in June and not August? Yes. I'll take what I can get, I guess. For the best Cowboys coverage out there, hit that sub button. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. Multiple videos each and every single day, including but not limited to the initial 53-man roster Tuesday afternoon sub, so you don't miss out. All right, several players have been waived. Now, these players have to go through waivers. First up is Jason Johnson, the undrafted free agent rookie linebacker. That one, not a surprise. Practice squad candidate, yes, but was not really in contention to make the 53-man roster. Somebody who was Willie Harvey Jr. He had been on many roster projections, so our first surprise of the bunch. He is a practice squad candidate still. I think there is some special teams value, but he didn't seem to see things very well as a pure linebacker. Had a lot of bad run fits, some misreads. I had actually left him off of our, not our final, but our last roster projection. He ends up getting cut and waived by Dallas. Also, no surprise here, Josh DeBerry, the cornerback, another rookie at UDFA. He was probably never going to make this team. Outside shot at the practice squad, but both he and Jason Johnson face other stiffer competition at those positions. A notable name, Eric Scott Jr., the 6th-round pick last year, has been waived by the Dallas Cowboys, and now you wonder, does he end up in Washington? This one, he wasn't playing well. The fact that he was playing behind Andrew Booth and Josh Butler in the preseason is a bad sign. I will say I would assume that the Cowboys had worked on trading away all of these players, that they had tried to find interest and they didn't have an offer, and they said, okay, we're just going to cut you and move on here. Eric Scott might get claimed. If it is, it's probably by the Commanders. If it's not, I bet he ends up on the Commanders' practice squad. Get ready to learn Washington, D.C., buddy. Are you surprised that Eric Scott Jr. got cut? It's the pinned comment on today's show. Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off at that pinned comment, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube. All right, other players waived. We went defense to offense here. Offense is Nathaniel Peat, the running back out of Missouri. He just didn't do much. And there were other players that were clearly ahead of him on the depth chart. So the updated running back room now is Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdle, Royce Freeman, Malik Davis, Deuce Vaughn, Snoop Connor, kind of sort of Hunter Lipke, a fullback, tight end hybrid there. They'll carry, if we count Lipke, 4 to 5. Otherwise, not counting him 3 to 4. I think Elliott and Dowdle are locks. Don't know about that third spot. Offense probably needs Deuce Vaughn a lot more. Special teams might view Malik Davis. And I also think that whoever gets cut between Freeman, Davis, and Vaughn was because of prime practice squad candidates. Multiple wide receivers being waived today. Deontay Burnett, he had been signed mid-season after some injury, or mid-camp with some injuries. Not a huge surprise there. Cam Johnson, they view him as a slot receiver. Flashed occasionally in the preseason. He's been cut. Again, not much of a surprise there. Alec Holler, the tight end, also waived. Again, he was like the 7th tight end on the roster, so he was never in position, really. I don't know if any of those guys end up making the practice squad, especially at tight end. You're going to have Jake Ferguson. You're going to have Luke Schoonmaker. I think you'll have John Stevens. Not sold on that one, though, necessarily. Maybe Peyton Hendershot gets interest from a different team. Princeton Fant, Brevin Spanford. Those guys feel like practice squad candidates at this time. Dallas has taken 4 in most years. If they view Lipke as a tight end option, that's somebody you can go lighter at, or the spot you can go lighter at for the tight end area. All right, one offensive lineman wave, that was Cohl Cabral, the offensive lineman. I actually think did a pretty decent job coming in off the streets and surviving at multiple different offensive line spots, but he was never going to make the roster. You'll see Chuma Adoga and Earl Bostic end up on IR. Adoga's probably going to be a day of injured reserve placement tomorrow to miss at least the first 4 games without the Washington to get 2 of those guys. So it'll be Adoga and Bland, I think. A couple spots up for grabs. Pick 1, maybe 2 of Josh Ball, Awesome Richards, and Matt Waletzko. Would not be surprised if Nathan Thomas was just straight up put on IR. He's missed a lot of time, hasn't been healthy, but they did draft him, and they typically find ways to buy extra time for those drafted players. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the best spot for tickets to your next football event, which I don't get to go to football games, by the way. Got Cowboys games we got to cover instead. But baseball games, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. My wife really wants to go to Post Malone and see his new country album. She really wants to do that one. So I use Game Time. They've also got Game Time Picks. It's a feature that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams or musicians, whatever, live even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Download the Game Time app today over at gametime.co. Create your account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price. What time is it? It's Game Time. All right, 3 players have been waived/injured. Allow me to explain what this means. These players are banged up in some capacity, sometimes less than what they have implied to stash them. If they do have to go through waivers, if they clear waivers, they then revert to injured reserve. So David Durden has been banged up. This team likes him. They will get him through waivers, and then he'll revert to IR. Teams can then buy players out of IR. It's pretty cheap. It's just standard, like you give them a couple game checks that in most cases they, oh no, I lost $50,000. You're fine. Or $100,000, whatever it ends up being. Durden, I think, might stick around on IR. Also waived injured is Viliami Fehoko Jr. I don't know if there's an injury or not, or if this is Dallas trying to buy an extra year for Fehoko. He might get claimed if he's healthy by the Commanders. Would not surprise me. They have the number 2 waiver claim. Again, I trust the Cowboys tried to trade these guys. And sometimes they even pull them back last second and find a trade partner there. But Fehoko Jr. waived injured. So too was Durrell Johnson. So again, all these guys will go through waivers. I doubt Johnson gets claimed either. Then get placed on injured reserve. Will either stay for the entire year or get bought out. So you're probably trying to buy some time with some of these available options. So it leaves guys like Marshawn Nealon, Micah Parsons, Tank Lawrence, Carl Lawson, Chauncey Golston as your edges. Al-Quadin Muhammad will serve a short suspension. I doubt Tyrus Wheat makes the roster, but as of now, he has not been cut. So this is a funny one, but I think it's going to be accurate. How many former Cowboys is Dan Quinn going to end up adding as we move through the waiver cutdown time? Is it 0? Does he add a couple? Drop that prediction for me in the comments of today's show. All right, back to the players cut here. Now, these are cuts. So these players are what's called vested veterans. They will not go through waivers. So no one can claim them. Now, if a team offers them a roster spot, they're going to say yes, obviously. But if not, if both sides really go right to the practice squad. Tyron Billy-Johnson, first up here. I doubt anyone adds him. He's been on 11 teams since we're in the NFL in 2019, or had 11 different stints with teams. That's a lot. He's a journeyman. He impressed in the preseason, or in training camp. Slowed down in the preseason. If you want him on your practice squad, I am convinced you will be able to get him there. So CeeDee Lamb now back. Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin, Jalen Brooks, I think are all pretty safe. Ryan Flournoy, we'll see. I don't think McMath or Kelvin Harmon or Jalen Cropper make the roster, but they have not been cut as of filming. Albert Huggins is next up here along the defensive line. Again, this one is not much of a surprise. I think your defensive tackle room is quickly taking shape. It's Osa Odigizua, Mozzie Smith, Jordan Phillips, Linval Joseph, maybe Justin Rogers. He might be like player 54, player 55. We'll see. He's a draft pick. Cowboys love their draft picks. They might take him over. Maybe they only go 5 linebackers. Maybe. We'll see. They put Nick Vigil in the practice squad, name game day call up, keep Buddy Johnson. That's all possible. Denzel Daxon will be a practice squad player. He is an international player pathway program, so it's a freebie. They get 17 instead of 16, but you don't have to worry about him getting claimed, I don't think. So name a player who you want to add to the practice squad. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Finally, linebacker Damien Wilson has been released. I don't think he played very well in the preseason. I thought he frankly struggled. So I am not surprised to see him moved on from by the Cowboys organization. That leaves a handful of linebackers still on the team. DeMarvion Overshown, Eric Kendricks, Damone Clark, Maurice Liufau are your locks. Those 4 guys are locks. I think there's 1, maybe 2 more spots up for grabs between probably not Brock Moggensen, for being honest here, but Darius Harris, Nick Vigil, Buddy Johnson, all fighting for those last couple of spots. And we shall see who makes it and who doesn't make it when the final cuts are due in a little under 24 hours.